Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic on a blisteringly hot day here in the UK, and a blisteringly amazing puzzle that we're going to be having a look at today. It's called the Parker Miracle. It's by Blashyrkh. Lots of you have recommended it. Look at it. I mean, it's just nonsense. This is a Sudoku puzzle. The only thing that we're given is an inequality sign, and this harks back to an old number file video. I want to say 8 years ago. It's actually, I did snip something earlier that will actually confirm this. Yeah, so it harks back to this, the Parker Square number file video, which I'm sure lots of you watching this channel have seen. It's a video in which Matt Parker talks about different types of magic square and his attempt to create a 3x3 magic square made out of square numbers. And it's become a bit of a meme on the internet because Matt fails to create such a magic square, or at least a magic square with different entry. No, he actually does fail to create the magic square, but it's sort of a noble failure because it's still quite an interesting thing that he's discovered. But Brady Haran gives him a bit of grief about how it's not really a magic square at all, and it's, you know, anyway, it's noble failure is the idea behind Matt's magic square. Oh, and there's a Cracking the Cryptic number file video there as well. This one, Fist of a Fell secret, well, a Sudoku secret to blow your mind. Anyway, let's go back and have a look. I'll just actually, I'll snip some other things just to show you. So this was the idea that Matt Parker was pursuing. Apparently there's $1,000 prize if you can, or £1,000 prize if you can come up with this. So it's a 3x3 magic square in which each of the numbers are squares, and all the rows, all the columns, and the two main diagonals sum to the same total. Now then we've got, what did Matt come up with? This was what Matt came up with. You might have seen this on many t-shirts ever since, and you can see that it looks quite good. I mean, these are interesting numbers, but the 29s are repeated, the 1s are repeated, and the 41s are repeated, so it's already slightly failed. And these are the actual totals that arise from that. You can see, so almost all of the parameters are fulfilled except the positive diagonal sums to 4,107 instead of 3,051. So I think it's a brilliant effort, and I'm sure most people who watch the video were sort of, yeah, begrudging respect for Matt's attempt. Anyway, what's all this got to do with Sudoku? And this Sudoku, why is this called the Parker Miracle? Well, Blashyrkh apparently has spent some time trying to create a perfect 6x6 miracle Sudoku in which there is absolutely no grid furniture at all. And this is Blashyrkh's best effort, where it's almost a perfect miracle, but there is an inequality sign. And the rules here are remarkably sparse. I mean, it's I will say this. If this has a smooth solve, and that is always something of a worry with these miracle-esque Sudokus, where they really are incredibly sparse. But if this has a smooth solve, this is an incredible discovery. It really is. Because, well, you'll see when I read the rules, there's not a lot going on here. We're not given a great deal of information, and that this has a unique solution is really quite remarkable. So I think Blashyrkh has stumbled on something of a discovery, even if there is an inequality and a domino in the grid. Anyway, we'll get to the rules in a moment or two's time. That's a long introduction, wasn't it? Now, what do I need to tell you about before we do the birthdays? And I have got some birthdays to do today. Quite a few, actually. 29th of June was obviously a popular date of birth for clever people. But no, the other thing I've got to mention is the Lord of the Rings Sudoku hunt, Blobs' Sudoku hunt. I have been working my way through producing the solution videos, because I'm solving the puzzles cold in order to create the solution videos. I've done 8 so far, I want to say. I've still got the Grey Haven puzzle, and there was another final. Mount Doom. So I've got Mount Doom and the Grey Havens to solve, and we're going to start releasing those over on Patreon very soon. On Patreon on the 1st of July we have a brand new puzzle hunt for you, by Paws, featuring lots and lots of 6x6 Sudokus. This should be perfect for anybody who's very new to variant Sudoku. You will be almost certainly able to finish this hunt. We're expecting it to be incredibly popular, so look out for that. The competition starts at 4 p.m. UK time on the 1st of July. Now, let's do some birthdays. I'm going to start off with one of my great friends, Hemon. Hemon, you've turned the big 50 today. I'm driving to Blashyrkh later to see you. I hope you appreciate that. Anyway, Hemon, happy birthday. Next, Clara. It's your birthday over there in Austria, and I know this because your partner Marcus, or you might know Marcus better as Duckle. Can that be right? I don't know, but Clara, it's your birthday, and apparently you watch every day, so I hope you get this message. Many happy returns. I hope you get chocolate cake. David, you've turned 30. Oh, you turned 38 a couple of days ago. I don't know how I missed it. I'm sorry. Your wife Maria wrote to us and told us you'd appreciate a shout out. Maria also said that she loves chocolate cake, but you're getting lime flan. My commiserations. I mean, I can, in terms of two foodstuffs, which are at opposite ends of my preference, I would struggle to think of two things that are more polar opposites than that. Chocolate cake is delicious. Lime flan, not so much. Anyway, David, I hope you had a good birthday, and I hope you didn't eat the lime flan. Maverick's about to bust past the window. Classic episode of Cracking the Cryptic ensues. Jack, you've turned 32 today, I think. I know this because your girlfriend Maddie wrote to us and told us that you were celebrating this weekend in York, which is a beautiful city, so I hope you enjoy that, and many happy returns. Jonas, you've turned 30 today. I know this because your friend Kenneth wrote to us and told us that the two of you have been friends for 21 years. And Kenneth also expressed a love of puzzles and for this community, which I can quite empathise with. This is, I think, the best community on the internet. So, Jonas, many happy returns. Madison, you've turned 29 today on the 29th. I know this because your husband Dale wrote to us. And also said that you don't usually watch the Sudoku videos, so I may be interrupting your reading. Madison, if you're reading, look, I'm saying happy birthday to you. Start watching the Sudoku videos. They're really good. And many happy returns. Maria, you've turned the big 30 today. And I know this because your sister Christina wrote to us and assured me that you are getting chocolate cake, so I hope you enjoy that. Nicole, it was your birthday yesterday. And I don't know who your birthday wishes are from. I can give you some clues. They're from a co-worker. I know, Nicole, you are a nurse, and I think that this birthday wish comes from a rehab counsellor at the residential program that you work at. So this may give you some clues. They described you as a great lover of animals and a pleasure to work with. So it's a bit of a mystery, that one. But Nicole, I hope you had a brilliant birthday yesterday. And then Seth, it was also your birthday yesterday. And your friend Rachel wrote to us. I think you're over there in Nashville, Tennessee. And she is delighted that she has finally found a variant Sudoku friend in real life. So Seth, many happy returns. I hope you had a good one. That's all the news. Let's have a look at the rules of the Parker Miracle by Blashyrkh. They are as follows. Normal 6x6 Sudoku rules apply. So that means we have to put the digits 1 to 6 once each in every row, in every column, and in every rectangle. Orthogonally adjacent digits must not sum to their box number, brackets numbers. For example, row 2, column 4, that's that one, and row 3, column 4, that's that one. Hang on, let's just highlight those. They must not sum to 2. Don't know how they could sum to 2, but okay, I suppose, absent normal Sudoku rules, they could be double 1. But they must not sum to 2 or 4. Right, okay, so perhaps if I'd managed to solve this puzzle, I will put in an extra rule, which is that seems to indicate to me that the boxes are numbered in normal reading order. So this is box 1, this is box 2, this is box 3, this is box 4, this is box 5, and this is box 6. So these two squares one of which is in box 2, one of which is in box 4. So those two can't sum. If they summed to this box number, that would be bad. If they summed to this box number, that would be bad. Let's look at another example. Let's look at that one. So these two squares can't sum to 5 or 6 because this is it. That one's in box 5, that one's in box 6. But presumably that also applies within boxes as well. So those two, so those two can't sum up to 3 because this is box 3, so they can't be a 1-2 pair. This is a weird rule. Okay, additionally, diagonally adjacent digits within the same box must not sum to their box number. Right, so those two squares can't add up to 3. And those two squares, for example, can't add up to 4. But presumably those two squares, therefore, because it says, it's very specific, it says diagonally adjacent digits within the same box. So these aren't in the same box, they are diagonally adjacent. But I guess they cannot sum to either 4 or to 1, because they are not in the same box, is how I read the rules. And the inequality sign points to the lower digit. Well, that's what we'd expect. So this digit is lower than this digit. And that's basically, that's the only grid furniture we get. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. And right, the first thing I'm thinking is that these weird rules can have almost no effect on boxes 1 and box 2, because you can't have two. No, you can't. I mean, box 2, for example, you can't have an orthogonally adjacent pair of Sudoku digits adding up to only 2, because they'd have to be double 1 and they break Sudoku rules. And the diagonal rule doesn't apply, so we can't have that being ruled out because they are not in the same box. So I think these boxes are absolutely irrelevant to solving the puzzle, at least initially. Now in this box, 1 and 2 have to be kept. I was going to say 1 and 2 have to be kept apart. I'm wondering how far apart. Yeah, they have to be very, very much kept apart, actually. How could that be a 1 or a 2? If that's a 1, where do I put 2 in this box? I can't put it anywhere, because I can't put it in an orthogonally adjacent cell, because it will create a naughty domino that sums to the box number, because the box number, if that's 2, they add up to 3, don't they? And I can't put it in those two squares, because again, that's a diagonally adjacent pair of digits within the same box, which adds up to 3. So you can't put 1 there, and you can't put 2 there, because 2 would have the same problem with 1. The same must be true for these squares, or this square. So 1 and 2 in this box are in those squares. But they have to be... Yeah, that's weird though. That doesn't actually help very much. Because although, imagine that was a 1, all you're getting from that is that that isn't a 2. But the 2 could be here, and I think it could be here. So it's not like if you know that this is a 1, you know this is a 2. It's not a sort of X-wingy type arrangement. It's just literally, it's preventing it going in the adjacent square. So that's odd. Yeah, I'm actually thinking box 5 might be a better place to look. I mean, I will come back and think about box 4, but there's only... The reason box 5 makes me curious, at least, box 6 as well will have the same sort of idea going on, but box 5, this idea here, where these two squares can't be 1 or 2 because you couldn't put the other digit anywhere in the box, well, that must apply in box 5. For example, if this is 1, where do you put 4 in the box now? And the answer is nowhere, because you're going to have the same problem. But that's going to be true for 2. If that's 2, you can't put 3 in the box. If that's 3, you can't put 2 in the box. If that's 4, you can't put 1 in the box. So that... Right, so that digit... Well, and the same is going to be true of this digit. Those digits are 5 and 6, aren't they? So these digits, well, I was about to say these digits are 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's true, but it's not terribly instructive. But yeah, and it's going to be the same sort of thing. I mean, I'll just put these in the corner for a moment. But if this is yeah, so hang on. So if that's a 1, let's just think about this. If that's a 1, that can't be a 4, but 4 can be in either of those squares. Yeah, yeah, sorry. Okay, so I don't really know how to... okay, sorry. But if these are 5 and 6, and 1 and 2 in box 3 have to be in the wings of box 3, those two squares are a sort of naked pair. They've got to be 3 and 4. These have got to be 1 and 2 in column 2. This is really, it's very clever and weird. Blashyrkh, I know Blashyrkh from sort of thermometer puzzles. I think Blashyrkh specialises in thermometer Sudoku. Maybe they're also now becoming an expert in minimal miracle Sudoku. Right, let's see. Can we do the same thing in box 6 then? Because in box 6, 1 and 5, you can't put 1 here because 5 couldn't be placed. You can't put 5 there because 1 couldn't be placed. You can't put 2 there because 4, where would you put 4 in the box? Nowhere. And 4 and 2. So this digit here, well, these two digits are not able to be from the two pairs, 1, 5 and 2, 4, that do add up to 4. Sorry, that do add up to 6. So these have got to be a 3, 6 pair. Which means these squares, let's just think about. So let's come back to this box. What do we know about this box? We know that we've got to prevent a naughty domino or naughty diagonal that adds up to 4, because this is box 4. The only way of making two Sudoku digits that have to be different digits add up to 4 is if they are 1 and 3. So these digits cannot include a 1, which means 1 is up there. So 1 and 3 have to be kept apart in this box. 1 and 2 have to be kept apart in this box. 2 and 3 and 1 and 4 have to be kept apart in this box. And 2 and 4 and 1 and 5 have to be kept apart in this box. And we can't... Right, let's now try and... Actually, I'm not seeing how to do... What? Okay, so what do we do now? Diagonally... We can't use diagonally adjacent digits across box boundaries. I can't... Sorry, I am... Just let me think about this for a moment, because I am... stuck. I am stuck. Let's... What? Hang on, so what is it that we might be able to... So 1 and 2 are on different sides of this box. 2 and 3 are on different sides of this box. So if, yeah, so if 1 and 2, so oh sorry, Maverick seems to be getting lower and lower. If 1 is on, so if 1 is on this side, let's just think about this. If 1 is on this side of box 3, then 1 is on this side of box 5. But that means that 4 is over here. So let's just give that. So 4 is over here. But 2 is over here. So 2 and 4 are going to marry up in this box. Yeah, okay. So in box 5, what we're going to get on one side is a 2-4 pair. And on the other side is a 1-3 pair. And let me just try and explain why that is. Hopefully it's obvious from my sort of colouring there. But what we're learning is that because 1 and 2 are on opposite sides, in opposite wings of box 3. So let's try and do an example. If the 1 is on the left hand side, then the 2 can't be, can it? So we'd be in this situation. Well, that's going to mean that in this box, the 1 is here and the 2 is here. But also now, in box 5, we know the 2 and the 3 are not friendly, are they? They must be kept apart. So the 3 has to go there and the 4 goes here. Now this, of course, could be the other way round. We don't know. But what we're learning is that in one wing of box 5 is a 2-4 pair. And yeah, that's lovely. Right, that's actually helped me. Okay, right. So let's restore this because we don't know what this is doing. Right, and let's come and look at this. We know that one of these dominoes is a 1-3 pair and one of these dominoes is a 2-4 pair. Right, can green be 2-4? No, is the answer. Why? Well, let's think about how this being a 2-4 pair would affect box 6, where, well, the question is how in box 6, remember, the 2 and the 4 have to be kept apart, and the 1 and the 5 have to be kept apart. So what do we propose to put into this square now? Well, we can't put 2 or 4, can we? Because if this is a green digit, if this is a 2 or a 4, what does this domino add up to? And the answer is 6. And this domino can't add up to 6 because that is box 6. So this cannot be 2 or 4. So what is it? It's 1 or 5. But the same logic applies to this square vis-a-vis this digit here. This also can't be 2 or 4, or this domino would add up to 6. So what happens if you put 2, 4 on the right of box 5 is that these two squares become a 1-5 pair and they add up to 6. And that won't work. So what instead must be going on is that we must have 2, 4 here. We must have 1, 5, not 1, 5. We must have 1, 3 here. So now, right, so now let's go back and look at box 3, where the 1 is now on the left-hand side, which means that the 2 is on the right-hand side. And the 2... You can't do that. It doesn't quite work. I mean, whichever one of these is 2, I don't want to have a 1 adjacent to it. But I could have a 1 diagonally adjacent to it, because that's not... So imagine this was a 2. That does mean this can't be a 1, because if these added up to 3, that would break this box's total, or it would sum to this box's total, which is not allowed. But this could be a 1. Because the diagonally adjacent rule doesn't rule that out. So how do we do this then? I know 2 is on the right. I know 1 is on the left. No. I was about to say, well, it's true, but it doesn't really. Don't think it does anything. I was going to say if that's a 4, then the 1 has to be here, which is true. Because if that's a 4, this domino, if this was a 1 and this was a 4, they would add up to 5, and that would be this box's total. Don't know. I'm not sure how to use that. I don't think there'll be anything going on across here, because 3... hang on. Let me think about this. You've got a 1-3 pair here. There are actually complications here, aren't there? In the sense that this domino can't add up to 5 or 6. Which is interesting, potential. Well, hang on. Yeah, that's really weird. Hang on, I'm not even sure what I'm thinking about there is right. I'm just going to just give me a moment. Yeah, right. So if that's that, that's that. But then that's, yeah, it doesn't, right. Okay, this digit is not a 5. But if it's not a 5, I can't think that through. I can prove this isn't a 5. That's true. And by the same token, okay, so neither of these is 5. Right, so that's going to push the 1 onto the left-hand side of box 6. Right, so let's have a think about this. I think I'm right in saying this is not a 5. And the corollary will be this is not a 5 either. If this is a 5, we mustn't create a naughty domino here, must we? So where's this digit can't be a 1, because these would add up to 6, and that would be naughty, because this is box 6. So this is going to be a 1. But now where do you put 1 in this box? And the answer is there. And that doesn't work, because now these two squares, well, they can only be a 2-4 pair, and that's going to break this square. And the same logic is going to apply here. If we make this 5, this will be 1, that will be 1 in the corner, and these two squares will be a 2-4 pair and break that one. So these are not 5, which means 5 is over here. Now if 5 is over here, 1 can't be over here, because 5 and 1 have to be kept apart in box 6. So we now have a 1 in one of these, and a 1 in one of these. But when I was doing this in my brain just now, I got very concerned that you could do the same thing. So if you do, no, yeah, it's fine, isn't it? This is easier actually. This is easier to see. Right, where is 4 in box 6? Now the answer to that is not here. Because 4 has an effect on 1 in 2. Yeah, let's make that a 4 just to show you what I mean. If this is 4, now, where is 1 in box 5? The answer is not adjacent to the 4, because if there is adjacent to the 4, you get a naughty domino that sums to box 5's total. So this can't be 1, which means this is 1. But we've just said that 1 is in one of these two positions in box 6. So if you make that a 4, you've got to make that a 1 as well. It won't work. Same is true here, obviously. If you make that a 4, that has to be a 1, and that has to be a 1. So actually, this is now a 1-2 pair. This is not. This is a 4-5 pair. We've reduced the bottom thingies all to dominoes. 1 is now not there, which means 1 is here, which means 3 is over here. And no. Okay, so it'll be the inequality now. So now this digit is 4 or 5 only, because it can't be 1, 2, or 3. It can't be 6, can it? Because then this would have to be 7, which doesn't exist in this puzzle. So this is 4 or 5. This is 5 or 6. Yes. Now, okay. So that can't be 4. So 4 is now here. This isn't 4. By Sudoku. That's our first digit in the puzzle after half an hour. 4. See, box 1 is so useless. That 4 does nothing. Hang on. Okay, I don't now see what to do with that. So let's think about. It's really odd actually. Everything going on at the top of the grid, you just can't create naughty dominoes. It's just impossible using box 1 and box 2. I mean, you can think about these two squares. These two couldn't add up to 4, but you can see from their options they could never add up to 4 because they'd have to be a 1-3 pair, and they can't be. No, I just don't like it. Let's look at the bottom of the grid again then. So if that was a 5, it would push the 1 there. We'll push the 1 there. Then that would have to be a not a 4, that would be a 2. Because otherwise that would create a naughty domino. Yeah, alright. Okay, that doesn't work. Right, so if you make... Hang on. How does that work that way round? Because it causes the 4 to interact. Yes, this is weird. Right. So I was looking at this domino. I don't actually think that does anything. But it gave me the thought of I was noticing how if this was 5, it pushed 1 up here because I couldn't create a naughty 6 domino. But let's try it here instead. Now, if this square is a 4, that has the same effect. It pushes the 1 upwards because we can't have a naughty 5 domino here. But this is bad now, or good for us, because if this is 4, this is 5 by Sudoku, and this is 1 by Sudoku, and I just create a naughty 6 domino out of nowhere. And I mustn't create naughty 6 dominoes out of nowhere, or really out of anywhere. So this square here is a 2, that's a 4, that's a 4, that's a 5. Right, that's 5, 6, 6, 3, 3, 1, 1, 2. And the whole of the bottom of the grid is done now. And presumably, he says, well, yes. No, yes. Okay, and now look at that domino. That must not add up to 4 because that is box 4. So that pushes the 3 upwards, which does those 2 digits for what that's worth. Now, what mustn't we create next? We mustn't create... Yeah. Ooh, yes. Okay. Where is 1 in box 3? Now, if that was a 1, this would be a naughty domino. So the 1 goes upwards. That's okay. A 5 domino is okay. We can have 5 dominoes. We couldn't have a 6 domino there. Now, is this useful? Is the next question. Okay. This square can't be a 5 because that would be adding up to 6, which is not allowed. In fact, what is the... Yeah, no, hang on. No. Well, hang on. Yeah, I mean, this is not a 5. So in this column, 5 is at the top somewhere, which means these 2 squares don't include 5. So there is definitely a 5 in these 2 squares. 2, 3, 5, 6. 3 is in one of those 2 squares, which is probably good. Can we build this in somehow, please? Oh, where's 2? Okay, I see. So all of these dominoes crossing the sort of boundary between row 5 and row 4 are all having an effect. Look, this can't be a 2 because that would add up to 5 and break this. This is weird. It's absolutely... What a bizarre puzzle. It's very, very clever and very, very strange. So now these squares are a 5-6 pair, which means this is a 2 or a 4, and that is a 6, that's very nice. That means that's a 6, I think. That's a 2, that's a 4, that's a 5, that's a 6 now. Is this filling itself? This is filling itself in. No, oh, I shouldn't. Well, no, it is. It's just, oh, look, I know what we're going to get here. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. That is absolutely brilliant. What an extraordinary puzzle. 83 people have solved it in 8 days. That's magnificent. So just those rules, and you can. It wasn't too bad a solve, was it? When I say bad, it was obviously not bad, but in terms of progression for a puzzle that has nothing in it at all, the way it's solved was remarkably like it was. Nature had intended it to be solved, because it felt like Blashyrkh had designed the solution path for a puzzle that had nothing in it, which is totally paradoxical. That is indeed a Parker miracle. Well, it's a bit harsh to call it a Parker miracle. It's closer to an actual miracle, Blashyrkh. Let me know if you had a go at that. Let me know if it's absolutely bamboozled you as well. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.